everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack those dense financial filings to find the real story. And today we're diving into Diodes Incorporated's latest report, which seems to be about their second quarter results. And let's just say things might be getting a little too diodic for some investors. Stick around because we're going to break down what these numbers actually mean for Diodes Incorporated and whether they're shining bright or flickering out. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and check out our Discord community linked in the description below for even more insights. Alright, so August 7th, 2025 is the day Diodes Incorporated is telling us about their performance up to June 30th of that same year. They've released a press release with their second quarter financial results, and this is where the real story usually begins. Now, Diodes Incorporated, they're publicly traded on the NASDAQ under the symbol DIOD. They're a global leader in semiconductors, which are like the tiny brains inside all our electronic gadgets. Think about your phone, your computer, even your car. Diodes makes the chips that help them all work. The main point of this filing is to share their financial results. And what's interesting is that they're using something called non-GAAP measures. Now, normally companies have to report their numbers according to what's called GAAP, which is a standard set of accounting rules. But sometimes companies will also show you other numbers that they've adjusted. They say they do this to give you a better way to compare their performance over time and to see how management is looking at things. They believe these non-GAAP numbers can give you a clearer picture, especially for forecasting their future performance. Management uses them and they want investors to have access to the same tools. It's kind of like if you were baking a cake, G-up is the official recipe, but maybe they're also showing you how the cake really turned out after they added their secret ingredient. They do remind us though that these special numbers are just an addition to the official GAAP numbers and shouldn't be seen as a replacement. They also mentioned that their non-GAAP numbers might be different from what other companies use, so always compare apples to apples, or in this case non-GAAP to non-GAAP. Beyond just the past results, Diodes also use this announcement to give an update on their business outlook. This is really important because it's their way of telling you what they expect to happen in the future. They're making sure to say this is all happening within the safe harbor of something called the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act. This legal jargon basically means they're trying to protect themselves from lawsuits if their future predictions don't turn out exactly as planned. It's a standard practice for companies making forward-looking statements. And it doesn't stop there. Diodes Incorporated also attached some presentation slides. These are likely for their customer meeting, supplier updates, and investor relations. They have one updated specifically for their second quarter 2025 results, and another one for general investor presentations. It's like they're giving everyone the same talking points and updated information. They're very clear that all these statements, especially those about the future, are considered forward-looking. They're also telling us that the detailed risks and uncertainties associated with these forward-looking statements are laid out in more detail within those attached exhibits. They're also making it known that they don't plan to update these statements publicly if new information comes out, unless the law requires them to. Now let's get to the really juicy material, the actual financial results, which are tucked away in Exhibit 99.1. While I don't have the full financial tables to read out to you in detail, the filing indicates these include the non-GAAP measures they've been talking about. When companies focus on non-GAAP, it's often to highlight what they see as their core operational performance, stripping out costs they deem unusual or non-recurring. For Diodes, this could mean things like restructuring costs, acquisition expenses, or stock-based compensation. The key takeaway here is to always look at both the GAAP and non-GAAP numbers. If the non-GAAP results look much better, it's worth understanding why. Is it truly because of one-off events, or are they trying to put a rosier spin on things by removing regularly occurring costs? For example, if they remove stock-based compensation, which is a real cost of doing business and a way to attract talent, it might make their earnings per share look higher, but it doesn't mean they're actually paying less for their employees. Finally, the filing lists all the exhibits, including the press release and those presentation slides. This is the standard end of the report where they formally attach all the supporting documents they've referred to. Now let's put on our investor hats and think about what this all means. Diodes Incorporated is in the business of making small essential electronic components. In today's world, that's a booming industry. Think about the growth in artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, and the ever-increasing demand for smarter devices. Diodes is positioned to benefit from these trends. However, the semiconductor industry is also incredibly competitive and often cyclical. companies need to invest heavily in research and development and manufacturing capacity to stay ahead. They also face risks from global supply chain disruptions and changing geopolitical landscapes, which can impact the cost and availability of raw materials and finished goods. When a company like Diodes emphasizes non-GAAP measures, it's a signal to be extra vigilant. While it can be helpful for understanding management's perspective, it also creates an opportunity for companies to present a more favorable financial picture than what the raw GAAP numbers might show. Are they truly highlighting operational efficiencies, or are they smoothing out the inevitable bumps in the road that come with a complex manufacturing business? Looking at their business outlook, which they've cautiously shared, gives us a glimpse into their expectations for sales and profitability in the near future. If their outlook is positive, it suggests they anticipate increased demand for their products. If it's cautious or negative, it could signal that they're seeing some headwinds, perhaps related to a slowdown in certain markets or increased competition. From a Warren Buffett style perspective, we want to see a company that consistently generates strong profits, manages its debt wisely, and operates in an industry with a durable competitive advantage. Diodes operates in a growth industry, but the durable advantage can be tricky in semiconductors due to rapid technological advancements and the high capital expenditure required. Their ability to innovate and adapt quickly is key. The fact that they're providing these presentations and updates suggests that they're actively engaging with the investment community, which is generally a good sign. They want to ensure investors understand their performance and strategy. So what's the verdict? Diodes Incorporated is in a sector with immense potential. Their emphasis on presenting results in a way that allows for easy comparison, while noting the differences from standard accounting, suggests they are trying to be transparent about how they view their own progress. However, investors need to do their homework, comparing both the GAAP and non-GAAP figures, understanding the specific adjustments being made, and looking at the overall economic environment for semiconductors. Are they truly on an upward trajectory, or are they navigating some choppy waters masked by adjusted numbers? That's the question we, as vigilant investors, always need to ask. Alright, that's our breakdown of Diodes Incorporated's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.